Hello guys, it is Draco in here, and yes, I know it's a couple hours later than it usually is. We had a short rain delay that delayed the race until, well, 12:42, and so we are going to race a couple hours later, and we are racing the rain here at Indianapolis. So anyway, let's give you a rundown on some of our championship contenders. Austin Dillon starts 4th. Brad Keselowski starts back in 6th. Jimmie Johnson starts 6 spots later in 12th. Chase Elliott starts back in, I believe, 20th. Eric Jones starts back in 26th. Christopher Bell starts back in 29th. William Byron starts back in 36th, I believe. And Clint Boyer, 37th. So anyway, let's get this race underway. We've been dealing with rain all week, so if this race is cut short because of rain, then that wouldn't be as surprising. So anyway, Denny Hamlin on the pole for this race. Then David Gilliland filling in for the injured Matt Tifft for the rest of the season. Then the 6 of Ryan Newman, and the first chaser, the 3 of Austin Dillon. And the caution already out. We have too many cars flipping over. So yeah, we are racing to the end of round 1, and if it hasn't rained by then, we will have an official race. Here we go. And the caution is out again. Once again, they all flipped over. Guys really don't want to stay on their wheels, do they? Okay, one more time. Let's try it. 3, 11, 36, and a 6. And it's going to be Ryan Newman and Austin Dillon advancing to round 2. Denny Hamlin and David Gilliland will not advance. Next we have the 41 of Cole Custer, who's starting in 5th. Brad Keselowski starts 6th. Jeb Burton starts 7th. Scott Legacy Jr. 8th. Caution comes out. The 2 didn't make it past the line out. It might just be that spot again. So I'll put him on one of the outside ones this time. And yes, it was that spot, but Keselowski is not going to make it. It's going to be the 77 and the 99. Pretty interesting couple of cars there. Next we have the 73 Danny Swords, the 98 of Spencer Gallagher, the 19 of Martin Truex, who almost fell down the ramp, and the 48 of Jimmie Johnson, who's had a pretty good year so far. Let's see what he can do today. And it's going to be Johnson and Danny Swords moving on. Spencer Gallagher and Martin Truex Jr. will not advance. Next we have the 16 of Ryan Reed, the 22 of Joey Logano, the 35 of Joey Miles, and the 97 of Ty Dillon. It's going to be Joey Miles and Joey Logano advancing. Ty Dillon, who somehow got underneath the ramp, and Ryan Reed are out. Next we have the 17 of Chris Buescher, the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto, the 18 of Kyle Busch with the Sport Clips colors for the first time since, I believe, race 3, and the 9 of Chase Elliott. And oh, Elliott is not going to advance. It's going to be Kyle Busch and Chris Buescher. That's going to be a big hit in the points for Chase Elliott. But yeah, Kyle Busch went really fast that round. Next we have the 1 of Kurt Busch, the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 5 of Justin Allgaier, and the 86 of Chick Hicks. Caution comes out. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. didn't make it past the line. A lot of dust on this one. That might be why it's slowing down. There we go. So we're going to reset them. It's going to be last week's winner, Kurt Busch, advancing, and Justin Allgaier. So Ricky Stenhouse and Chick Hicks will not advance. Next we have the 8 of Tyler Reddick, the 20 of Eric Jones, the 25 of Owen Miles, and the 39 of Buck Bearingley. Green. Oh, Tyler Reddick didn't. Almost kept it on his wheels, but he didn't. So we are gonna go back to the caution flag. Eric Jones came into this race above the cut line in points, so he has to hope that he makes it. And it's gonna be another caution. Too many cars flipped over. So we're gonna try that one more time. Well, Buck Bearingley was the only one to stay on his wheels, so I guess Eric Jones is going to be the other one, because he was farthest on the track out of the other two, so he will advance. Next we have the 88 of Alex Bowen with the Valvoline colors for the first time in a while. Then we have a legend here. Driving for BJ McLeod slash himself, Tony Stewart, making his return to the Dinoco Cup Series here at Indianapolis. He is in row 2. Then the 95 of Christopher Bell, row 3, he is in the chase. And AJ Allmendinger, who's had a pretty good run this season but didn't make the chase, he is 4th. And it's going to be Bell and Allmendinger advancing, unfortunately for Tony Stewart. His race was short-lived, but still great to see him return to the Dinoco Cup Series, despite his short-lived race. Next we have the 95 of Lightning McQueen, the 00 of Landon Castle, the 55 of Henry Miles, and the 24 of William Byron. Byron is below the cut line in 7th at the moment, so he has to hope he's going to advance. And he will advance along with Lightning McQueen in the 95. By the way, the GNQs for this race were Eric Almirola, Rory Miles, J.J. Yaley, Michael McDowell, and Bubba Wallace. So yeah. Here's the 14 of Clint Boyer, who's also currently below the cut line, but he's only in 5th. Then we have the 42 of Ross Chastain, the 65 of Andre Blazena making his first career start in the Dinoco Cup Series, and then Kevin Harvick in 40th. And it looks like the caution will come out. Too many cars flipped over. Once again. We have the Stewart Haas teammates here. Let's see which one's going to end up being faster. And the caution comes out again. Another time for them. So here we go one more time. And it's going to be the 42 of Ross Chastain and the 14 of Clint Boyer moving on. Andre Blazena and Kevin Harvick will not advance. Here's the final 3 cars. The 60 of Chase Briscoe, the 12 of Ryan Blaney, and starting last today, the 05 of Sebastian Gilio. Caution is out. Giglio didn't make it past the line. Not had a really fast car all week, just barely made it into the event. Green again. And Giglio did make it past the line, so he and Chase Briscoe will be the two cars advancing. Briscoe's had a really good couple of weeks. One at Detroit, and then at the Roval, finished second, a close second to Kurt Busch. So, that is the end of round 1, so let's set the grid for round 2. Got a lot of underdogs in this round. In the first race will be Kyle Busch in the 18, the 60 of Chase Briscoe, the 42 of Ross Chastain, and the 95 of Whitey McQueen. And it's going to be Briscoe and Chastain moving on to the third round. The other two will not advance, unfortunately for Kyle Busch, who had a really fast car in his race. Next we have a chaser, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, then another chaser, Christopher Bell in the 95, then Danny Swords in the 73, and Justin Allgaier in the 5. Leading out, and it looks like it's going to be the two chasers, Jimmy Johnson and Christopher Bell, moving on. Both are currently below the cut line, so they're going to have to watch out. Well, I think Johnson might be above the cut line now because Keselowski and Elliott both failed to make it to the second round, who are the top two in points coming into this race. So anyway, next we have the 39 of Buck Bearingley, the 35 of Joey Miles. We forgot to mention in pre-race that he is the only proven winner here in the Dinoco Cup Series. Then we have the 72 of AJ Allmendinger and the 24 of William Byron. Bearingley with a great race. He'll go in with AJ Allmendinger. So William Byron will not advance. He's the third chaser to get knocked out. Of course, 6 of the 8 guys made it into the second round in this race. There's a thing in my way here. There we go. Next we have the 77 of Jeb Burton, the 22 of Joey Logano, the 05 of Sebastian Giglio, and the 20 of Eric Jones. And Giglio will not make it past the line. So we're going to have to attempt that again. And once again, he didn't make it past, so we're going to have to go one last time. Giglio's car has not been fast. I think I'm going to scrap the car that he's using this season for next season. So here we go, one final time. It's going to be the 20 and the 22 moving on. Those car numbers are infamous for one certain incident in 2015, but the driver of the 20 was Matt Kenseth, not Eric Jones. The wall fell down for some reason. Next we have the 17 of Chris Buescher, the 99 of Scott Legacy Jr., the 1 of Kurt Busch, and the 6 of Ryan Newman. It's going to be the Roush teammates, Buescher and Newman, moving on. Last week's winner, Kurt Busch, will not advance to the third round. And here's the final race in this round, the 14 of Clint Bowyer and the 3 of Austin Dillon. Let's see what they can do. And it's going to be Bowyer moving on. I was expecting it to be Dillon, but I guess it's Bowyer. And so, 4 cars in the chase are in the next round. So it's been split in half. We still have a bunch of cars left to race. And Jimmy Johnson, one of those playoff guys, is in round 1. Then the 14 of Clint Bowyer. Then the 6 of Ryan Newman. And the 17 of Chris Buescher. Oh, it's going to be Newman and Johnson. Not Bowyer and Johnson, so Buescher and Clint Bowyer will be out. Jimmy Johnson, this might get him into the Final Four. If he does well enough today, he will be in the Final Four, and this is his final season. So next we have the 39 of Buck Bearingley, the 72 of AJ Allmendinger, the 95 of Christopher Bell, and the 60 of Chase Briscoe. Oh, it's going to be the 72 landed on his wheels, and it will also be the 95 of Christopher Bell that will advance to the Final Six. So here we go. Let's see if Eric Jones can join his two teammates. I meant not teammates, but the other two playoff drivers that made it to the next round. He is joined by Ross Chastain and Joey Logano, who have all had fast cars today. Oh, that's going to be a caution. Too many cars flipped over. And it looks like we will get to the end of the race without any rain. So that's out of the picture. So here we go. Again. And, oh, Eric Jones didn't make it. It's going to be Logano and Chastain, the final two. Logano looking for his third win of the year. He's unfortunately no longer contending for the playoffs. But anyway, this is going to decide the final four. The 72 of AJ Allmendinger, 22 of Joey Logano, the 6 of Ryan Newman, and the 95 of Christopher Bell. And oh, Bell didn't make it. It's going to be Newman and Logano advancing. But Christopher Bell didn't make it. So Jimmy Johnson will have the best run of all the playoff drivers by default today. Christopher Bell will still finish in the top 5 though, so that's pretty good for him. So here we go, the final four of this race, the 42 of Ross Chastain, the 6 of Ryan Newman, who has not won in a while, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, and the 22 of Joey Logano. And caution comes out. Too many cars flipped over. So we will try that again. It's going to be Johnson and Logano competing for the win at Indianapolis. Jimmy Johnson, this could be his run into the Final Four. So Jimmy Johnson and Joey Logano fighting for the win. Green flag. Oh, Jimmy Johnson has won it. Jimmy Johnson in his final season will be in the championship four. Congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. Barely made it into the playoffs by the skin of his teeth. But he is going to advance into the Final Four with this win here today at Indianapolis. Joey Logano finishing a close second. Ross Chastain is third. Ryan Newman fourth. Christopher Bell fifth. AJ Allmendinger sixth. Eric Jones seventh. Buck Bearingley eighth. Chase Briscoe ninth. And Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. Congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. He will be competing for a championship. As I believe this is his second win. No, I think it might be his first win in the Dinoco Cup Series. But it's one of the most important ones. Jimmy Johnson, your winner at the Brickyard. And he will be a member of the Final Four for this year. So congratulations to Jimmy Johnson on the win and the championship four berth. And I'll see you guys for the round of 8 cutoff at none other than Talladega on the 4th of July. See you guys next time.